Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to talk about some disturbing photography news that I saw earlier this week from NikonRumors.com, and guess what? It's about Nikon suing Viltrox. I can't believe what I'm reading. I want to talk about these rumors and what it may mean for folks like myself and others who enjoy using Viltrox lenses with their Nikon cameras. Let's talk about it. So here we are at NikonRumors.com, and here it is. It was posted January 17th, just about 3 days ago, and it says here, clear as day, rumors from China. Nikon is suing Viltrox. OMG, okay? Because I own about 5 Viltrox lenses. I absolutely love them, and as many of you know, I've been talking and honestly raving about Viltrox lenses as a very affordable and high-performing option for Nikon users. So it says right here, rumors circulating on Chinese social media platforms claim that Viltrox is being sued by Nikon over a dispute regarding Z-mount lens licensing. Okay, so here it is. It says pretty much that they have a hearing date on March 2nd, okay, and look, it says here's the case type. It says dispute over royalties for the provisional protection period of an invention patent. Okay, this is very interesting. And then here it is. Defendants is Shenzhen Viltrox Tech, Shenzhen, I guess how you say it, UN Technology, Shanghai Qihong Photographic Equipment Company, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I can't read any of this, as I'm sure many of you out there, but I'm sure it just said pretty much what it just said. And this is a social media post, I'm sure an influencer of sorts has something to say. But let's get down to the main part. First, it says verification of the source and case details. Okay, so this is who's involved in this court case. The primary sources for such breaking legal news on Chinese social media before they hit mainstream news sites. So here's a case number and the meaning. So whatever that is confirms that the venue is the Shanghai Intellectual Property Court, a specialized court for high-stakes tech patent battles. Okay, Shi Min Chu indicates it's a first instance civil intellectual property case. Now look who's in defense. We have Viltrox here, and I think that's like their parent company. Yuying is the parent manufacturing company, while Viltrox is the consumer-facing brand. So they build it, and that's the brand-faced. Nikon is targeting both to ensure any judgment covers the factory and the brand. So Shanghai Qihong Photographic Equipment Company is likely a local distributor or retailer. In Chinese IP litigation, it is common tactic to sue a local seller alongside the manufacturer to establish jurisdiction in a specific city, in this case Shanghai, rather than the defendant's home turf. So, the court dispute, royalties for provisional protection period. The cause of action listed dispute over royalties for the provisional protection period of an invention patent. So, let's just read what this means. Under court Chinese patent law, provisional protection period is the window between a patent application is published and when it is granted. So, that kind of gray area. All right. Nikon is likely claiming that Viltrox was using a specific Nikon invention, likely the Z-mount autofocus protocols, while Nikon's patent was pending. Now that the patent is granted, Nikon is demanding back pay for the lenses sold during that pending gray area window. Now, why does this matter? So this often is a precursor to a wider ban. If Nikon wins, they prove Viltrox is infringing, which gives them leverage to demand a full licensing deal or a case in cease and desist situation, okay? Similar to what Canon did to Viltrox regarding our F-mounts. Now, here's the gossip. Let's talk about the gossip. Will my lens become a brick? The biggest fear for Chinese users is that Nikon will release a camera firmware update and initially brick the lenses. Okay, so it's no longer compatible with Nikon cameras. Social media sentiment is saying, hey, don't update your camera firmware until we know if Viltrox protocols are blocked. Another one says, comparison to the Canon RF ban. Users are drawing parallels when Canon legally forced Viltrox to stop selling RF mount. Okay, this is what some folks are saying. But first Canon, now Nikon. Is there an era of affordable third lenses? Over with. Nikon was supposed to be the open mount, which is very true. That was a large part of their marketing of the Z mount and trying to win people over to Nikon. Authorized versus cracked protocols. There is a debate over whether Viltrox actually had a license. Previously, Viltrox claimed to have reverse engineered the Z mount legally. This lawsuit suggests that they did not have an official license for the specific invention Nikon is citing. Speculation. Some users suspect that this is Nikon forcing Viltrox to pay an official insurance fee to become a licensed partner like Tamron or Sigma, rather than trying to kill them off completely. Well, OMG. This is definitely shocking news. Now I want to share my particular opinion about this. Well, of course, this is news I didn't want to hear about, okay, because I already had 2 other Viltrox lenses in my cart on Amazon to be used with what? My Nikon, okay? First is, these are all supposed rumors. If it has a case court number and everything else and a pending trial date, there's some validity to the actual lawsuit, right? There were a couple of good points that it was made. One is that the Z mount was first initially marketed to everybody and in the US as a very open lens mount, meaning that you could adapt any lens to this thing and just go ahead and use it. Now, they have all rights to protect their patents and thus the profits made off of their invention. I won't argue that point. I hope that they eventually find a middle ground, because Viltrox, honestly, is one of those brands that will really encourage people to be within Nikon, meaning buy a Nikon camera but yet have affordable options. They make great glass, and I get that they are technically competing against Nikon Z mount. I believe those who want Nikon Z mount native glass will always get Nikon Z mount native glass. They will find the money. They won't even look anywhere else, really. You won't lose all those people, those loyal Nikon native mount buyers. Viltrox is really great because it helps people to enjoy the Nikon color science, the features and everything else that they get out of it, photos and video, but not having to maybe buy the same kind of lens for three times the price. It just really helps to keep everybody that's up here and down here. You're actually catching a wide dynamic range of clientele and keeping them within the Nikon system and not having to look elsewhere. That's honestly one of a great competitive, not advantage, but a feature of buying into Nikon when you're looking at, let's say, Sony, right? Sony, one of their best marketing decisions was to seriously open up the mount to the point where any lens manufacturer has an E-mount. By default, they have E-mount. And that means no matter where you're at economically, if you have a Sony, you have lens options galore. And they really embraced that. Those were two things that they did really well when they came out with with a Sony E-mount cameras. Was first put it in every influencer's hand, and then second was open up that mount to the point where we don't care who uses it, just put an E-mount on that lens. Really honestly helped. It was subconsciously even branding Sony brand by just saying, yes, we have E-mount lenses. We have E-mount lenses. Suray, Youngyo, of course, Viltrox. We have, of course, Sony has E-mount, Sigma, Tamron. All these brands have, like, it does 7 Artisans, T Artisans, like whatever they do, they end up coming up with an E-mount, and that just subconsciously imprints in the back of people's minds. If I'm going to buy a camera, I keep hearing about this E-mount, and that's Sony. I might as well go with Sony, buy the Sony body, but I could have all these lens options. And that's one of the biggest issues when it comes to buying into a modern camera system is what are the lens options? So I think Nikon would benefit from figuring out a middle ground to allow Viltrox into the Z-mount ecosystem, but not destroying them off completely, because I think that's one of the biggest detriments to that Canon has, is that they only want you to have RF native glass, and that's good, I guess, for business wise, and they want to protect themselves, but it doesn't help you expand into an ever-changing and very fluid marketplace right now. Buyers have options, and if they don't get what they want, they will go somewhere else very easily, because all of these brands create great quality photos or video. That discussion really isn't there. It's all little nuances that really separate these brands, and most of it comes down to user experience. All right, this adds to the experience of working with Nikon, and Sony yet again is making such great long-term kind of moves. They're making the long play by letting everyone have access to their E-mount protocol and etc. Now, it doesn't mean you'll get the same exact experience and frame rate on all the Sony cameras, but the ability for you to have that option of even getting another lens for a more affordable rate, that works for you, is game-changing in itself and a smart move. I hope Nikon uses this opportunity to learn from the same playbook, okay, because they're doing a phenomenal job, and this would definitely not only upset me, but I'm sure many of you out there as well. And I will do what that rumor said was, hey, I'm not going to update my cameras until I know for sure that my Viltrox lenses, all 5 of them, still work with my Nikon Z6 III and Z8 and any other Nikon camera I plan to buy in the future. Anyway, what do you think about this rumor? Let me know down below. Of course, if you enjoyed this little update, I don't think it's that little, but either way, if you enjoyed it, hit that like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.